we had a lot of creators who were trying to make all 30 videos in a day. We realized shortly that's not how it works. We're wasting money.
All right, welcome to another episode of Commerce Creators and Coffee. I have with me here today Abdul. Abdul, you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your brand.
Hey, my name is Abdul. I'm one of the co-founders here at Yay Nuts. We sell butter toffee candied nuts, and we're one of the biggest brands on TikTok Shop when it comes to the nut industry. And I'm here. I'm looking forward to speaking on the podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Tell me a little bit more about kind of how you got started, how long you've been operating the brand, what channels you're on and kind of a little bit about the product actually. I'd love to hear more about it.
Definitely, I'll give you a quick background on how we started. So we launched the brand back in August 2024. My cousin and I, we were both 21 years old at that time. We were still in college, and a lot of people ask me like, why nuts, right? So my father's actually in the wholesale business of nuts. So I'm like, I got to follow the lineage down, but instead going to
Yeah.
the packaging side. So we launched on TikTok Shop first. I tell everyone like TikTok Shop is the foundation right now in e-commerce. If you have your TikTok Shop built up, the halo effect is absolutely insane, which is going to help your Amazon and your Shopify. So we launched on TikTok Shop and we scaled it pretty quickly. And then from there, we launched on Shopify afterwards. A lot of people, I think it was during January, a lot of people were talking about how TikTok Shop's gonna get banned and things like that. So we got a little bit scared as well. So we're like, okay, we got to pivot. So we started pivoting more towards Shopify, but thankfully, TikTok never went away. So then we went back on TikTok and we continued growing that. And then for the first year, we did 2 million in sales. And now we're in 2026. Hopefully, we're going to try to do 10 million in sales. And we're just growing it mainly through TikTok Shop, using those creatives and, building up the Shopify and Amazon as well.
Amazing. What channel has surprised you the most outside of TikTok Shop, especially as a foundation? Did you go straight to ad spend on Meta? Did you try running it just organic content from the TikTok Shop content and just pushing it to your site? Did you go straight to Amazon? What was the thought process between going from TikTok and expanding to different channels?
Definitely. So after TikTok Shop, we went to Shopify, and I didn't realize like the halo effect is absolutely insane. One thing we realized over time is that once you have the foundation built up on TikTok Shop, once you have those creators into like an ambassador program, and once those creators are just making a lot of videos for you, and you run them on GMV Max ads, you realize that okay, if this video is doing well, 90% of the time it's gonna crush it on Meta. And for the past few months, our focus has just been on Meta right now because, of course, being a CPG product, retention is very, very, very important. And for us, we're just trying to see like how can we increase our MRR, right? How can we keep people coming back? But when we didn't launch on Shopify right away. It was because like we didn't have money, right? We're bootstrapped, we're college kids, and like we were like, okay, which place can we go to make us the most money? So after we built up TikTok Shop, we used that money, then we built our Shopify. What a lot of people they don't know is they think that like if you go on Shopify, you can start making a lot of money right away. That's not true, right? You need good landing pages, you need good proper after sales, upsells, conversion pages. If you don't have that, if you don't have good graphics, like you're just throwing money and it's going nowhere. So once we built that and once we got enough money, we spent a lot of money. Like nowadays, we're spending thousands of dollars every month just on software costs alone. But that's really helping grow our Shopify. And of course, like we're seeing the halo effect now on Amazon. A lot of people they'll go on our TikTok shop, but they won't buy the product from TikTok. They'll go on Amazon because they have Prime and we have FBA, and a lot of people trust Amazon a lot more. So we're seeing that convert very very well for us.
Amazing. How much of your growth right now is paid versus organic?
Like 90% would be paid. We're not really focusing more on organic, or we're going more towards the paid route.
And you're feeding the paid through TikTok. Like
100%.
what's working? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And so when you're seeding products on TikTok Shop, how do you go about that strategy? How much are you doing? How are you deciding what products to seed? Do you have a hero product and then you try to upsell on the Shopify or Amazon the other products, or are you trying to get all the products out? Tell me more about that kind of process and kind of how you approach it.
Definitely, I'll break down the blueprint of how we scaled our brand. So essentially, first off, one thing that's unique what we do is, of course, we use a bot, right? Everyone uses a bot, but when you use a bot and you reach out to a lot of creators, right? Everyone has the same generic message, right? You're reaching out saying the same old thing, and those creators are getting hundreds of same messages just like yours. How do you stand out? One thing we've done, which is unique, is I made a quick video, a 30-second video. I put it on a drive. In that video, I talk about how, my name is Abdul. I'm one of the co-founders here at Yenuts. I launched this brand, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just trying to build an emotional relationship with that creator on the start, right? And a lot of people, they don't understand that. Once the creator opens that message, they're like, what is this Google Drive link? I've never seen this before. Once they see that, they're like, okay, there's a video. This is unique. I've never had anyone else send me a video before, right? And now they're like, okay, this makes sense. This guy, he seems like a cool guy. Seems like a good product. I should try it out. Now we've got them through the door, and now they know that, we care about them just because of that video. From there, once we start sending a lot of samples out, we'll see the creators that are doing well. We'll see that, if they're making a lot of sales for us, or if they have good quality videos, we'll take them, we'll tell them, come inside our Discord server, our ambassador program. We'll give you, a higher retainer. We'll pay you X amount of commission. But you have to make us, 15, 30 videos a month. And then from there, we're just rinsing and repeating. We're doing that with, a lot of creators. And then from there, what we did when we started off was like we didn't know our secret sauce. Every brand has their own secret sauce. But how do you figure that out, right? The only way to figure that out is by running as many UGC creatives as possible, seeing what works, what hooks work, what converts, and what doesn't. So that's what we did. And after we figured out, okay, this is working, this is not working, we doubled down on what worked, and we told the same creators, use this script, do this, but add your own touch to it. And now we have like a whole Notion doc on our Discord, just for our ambassadors. We tell them, the do's and the don'ts. Do this, don't do this, say this, don't say this, use this hook, don't use this hook. From there, we keep on A/B testing. Every brand, A/B testing is very important. You're gonna have to do it over and over again. But we take those videos and put them on on TikTok Shop, the GMB Max ads. We see how they perform. If they do well, now we find a winner. Now we'll take those same videos and put them on Meta, and then we'll just scale it from there.
Awesome. So you're going from organic content, taking those winners, putting them on GMV Max, taking that winner and putting it on Meta.
Exactly. And of course, look, the beauty about TikTok Shop is you're allowed to get a lot of volume, right? When it comes to if you just launch on Shopify as an example, and let's just say you hired a couple UGC creators, those creators are gonna charge you, the good ones at least, a couple $100 per video. And that's very, very expensive. Rather than just using a micro influencer from, TikTok Shop and getting them on a retainer. So they're making good money just from you paying them a retainer, but they're also making a lot of money through that affiliate commission. And now
Mhm.
you're able to test so many videos at once. Now you're able to see, okay, this is work, this doesn't work. And now you can scale that much easier.
That makes sense. And as you are funneling people into your Discord community, how much of it is new creator acquisition as opposed to managing the current creator group? Is there a size that you advise companies start with? How big of a community should you be doing? And then how many videos are you trying to get them to make each month? Like, what is the goal output for you guys?
It's about quality over quantity, right? And a lot of people, they think that, okay, if I have, 20, 30 creators, I'm set. That's not the case. Even if you have 5 or 10 very, very good creators that are making at least 30 videos for you, that's what we try to do. We try to tell them to make at least 30 videos. Just think about that. That's a couple hundred videos right there, right? That's all you need because now those creators are making you very, very good content. They're taking their time on it. They're not making you like, garbage content. From there, you'll be able to see like what's working rather than in the start. What we did was like we just got as many creators as possible. We realized shortly that's not how it works. Like we had a lot of creators who were trying to make all 30 videos in a day. It was insane.
Mm,
Like how do you even do that, right? And then we realized shortly that we're wasting money. So that from there, like we started becoming more strict. Now we see like, okay, how much GMV have they made already? Are they working with any competitor? If they are working with the competitor, how much money have they made that competitor, right? Of course, every brand's gonna do the same. They're gonna go to their competitors, take those creators, and try to make them make videos for their own brand. One thing I tell a lot of people I speak with is like, if you want that creators to stay loyal just to your brand and not go to your competitor, you have to really incentivize them. Of course, giving them the higher GMV, the higher bonus, the higher retainer is nice, but just talking with them. A lot of people don't understand, like, if you're the owner, you're able to do like, weekly calls or bi-weekly calls with the creators. That builds that trust, that builds that loyalty, and that's very, very important so that they won't leave you, right? Of course, offering them like merch as well, offering them, incentives that keeps them motivated. Just by speaking with them, that's like, okay, this guy cares about me. And it's not like some manager or someone on your team speaking with them. The owner himself, he's so busy, but he still leaves some time to speak with me.
mhm.
So that's what we've been doing, and we've realized that, a lot of people, they have very good suggestions as well. Like they'll tell you, you shouldn't be doing this, or you should do this, right? And we've taken a lot of those suggestions, and they have worked out really well for us as well.
Have you gotten product feedback from all this as well, or is it all more visual marketing feedback? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
have
we
any new flavors or anything come out of it?
definitely, I mean, we're working on a lot of flavors, and whenever we like, talk about a flavor, we ask the creators, what do you think about this? And when it comes to these creators that are already in the Discord server, like once that flavor launches, you're gonna first send it to them, right? You're gonna tell them, okay, try it out. Let
Mhm.
me know what you think. If they think it's not good, then you know it's not a flavor to launch. But if they're like, yeah, this is a good flavor, perfect. Now we got multiple people saying that it's good. And from there, once we launch, we're gonna be using that ambassador program that we already built to literally scale that product like insane. Because now they're gonna be making so many videos. Once that listing launches, we already have, hundreds of videos ready just for that product. So it's gonna take off.
Yeah, and I tell brands like the power of having a community already of creators who are ambassadors in a sense is you can get instant product feedback. You can modify it, you can change it. Obviously, certain products have a long cycle, but that's just the best feedback, best customer support you can kind of garner from there and then try to scale from there. In terms of working with the creators and guiding them, how do you balance giving them too much guidelines and giving them also enough space to be creative and come up with new ideas? Because what will end up happening is every creator will start sounding the same because they're like, this is the message that wins. And do you leave room for experimenting new ideas that will eventually be winners in the future? How do you tackle that?
Yeah, very good question. So when we hire the creators, we of course look at, how much GMV they're making for other companies. And if they're already very experienced and they're making a lot of money, we will let them, be as creative as possible. At the same time, we'll give them the do's and don'ts that we know are not going to work, even if they tried, because we've already trialed and tested them with multiple creators. But that's, the base. That's just the base. From there, they're able to take that base and they're able to make their own creatives. Of course, we need, new creatives every day, right? The old creatives, they're going to die down eventually, right? So we always need to be A/B testing. And with these creatives, we give them the freedom. Sometimes we'll tell them, okay, this is a trend. Try this out. See if it does well. Or some other days, we'll tell them, it's all on you. Make whatever video you want. We trust you. That's why we
Mhm.
hired you. And, that ends up doing pretty well for us as well.
How often are you meeting with creators or giving them new briefs or ideas?
Yeah, so we try to do like bi-weekly meetings. We used to do weekly meetings back in the days. We realized that's a little bit too much. Like you don't have to do meetings every week with them. Bi-weekly is more than enough. And some things that we're trying to implement very soon is like having some sort of manager in the Discord as well that can do the weekly meeting when you're not there, so that they can always speak with someone, and that manager basically is able to tell them, this is what's working this week. Try these type of creatives. And then also the manager is able to just, watch over their videos, tell them, this is a good video, you did a good hook here, or critique them, say that this wasn't good, how about try something else, right? So that's something that we're also in the works of implementing.
And outside of kind of GMV, are there any other metrics you keep in mind when you're like building out your community or working directly with these creators?
Yeah, so as I said, like every company has their own secret sauce, right? And one thing we realized is like majority of our customers are actually female, right? And
Mhm.
they're female like above the age of 40. So when we're reaching out to creators, we're looking for females, that are on the older side. Funny enough, when we launched the brand, like we thought this was going to be a Gen Z product, right? Us being Gen Zs and us having that packaging very Gen Z, very
Mhm.
new. But turns out that's not the case. And I'm happy. It's actually a blessing because Gen Zs are broke. They don't got money. Of course, people that are older, they got a lot of money. We have a lot of people that are retired that buy from us. So when we reach out to creators, we try to focus on those females and on the older side. We tried reaching out to males on the older side. That didn't work well.
When did you discover that was the case, that this was like your audience and walk me through how like that pivot happened and that realization? And I'm assuming now on Meta and stuff, that's your target lookalike and the audience that's working best outside of TikTok as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we use different softwares to see, okay, who's buying from us, what's their age, what the gender is. From there, we broke it down into an Excel sheet. We saw, okay, people from this state are buying from us, people at this age, people, female, male. And then from there, we're like, okay, this is working. One unique thing we also found is that, we have a lot of people that buy from the Southwest. And a lot of people that buy from there, especially the pecans, they do really well for us. Another thing that we did realize is, there is a certain race that buys way more compared to a different race. It's very interesting, right? I never knew about all this stuff. So now a lot of the creators we hire are from that race, right? It just makes the videos more convincing for other people from that race to buy from them because they see that this person is talking about the product, and converts much better for us as well.
Interesting. You're getting specific to making sure you, I guess, talk to the customer, show them the representative. In terms of expanding beyond TikTok Shop, you mentioned the halo effect is big. You're seeing it on Amazon, you're seeing it everywhere else. Tell me about that impact. Are you guys in retail at all?
Yeah, so we're now when it comes to retail, a lot of people ask us, and what I tell people is we're not focused on retail right now. The reason behind that is we've been offered to go into retail. So we had some big retailers reach out to us. We said no. The reason behind that is because when you're a CPG product, you have to build that online presence, right? And that's exactly what we're doing. We want to build that presence to the point that, when we get to the point that we want to go into retail, we have the money, we have the cash flow, but at the same time, we have leverage. And
Mhm.
business leverage is key, right? So rather than us knocking on the doors of the retailers, we want the retailers to knock on our doors. And that's what we're going to be trying to focus on for 2026.
Yeah, that makes sense. In terms of the halo effect, though, how are you measuring that? How are you making sure that it's still TikTok is still a core of kind of the product? As you scale, are you still a TikTok first company, or do you see yourself just using it as a springboard to becoming, a heavy Meta or heavy Amazon brand? How do you balance the three as you're expanding?
Yeah, good question. So when it comes to the halo effect, this is something new, and I've seen a lot of people launching different softwares to test it out and see, when are you seeing more income coming in, which day, and things like that. We don't use any sort of software just yet because we're still testing that out. And I don't know any reliable software that can really do that, but we can see it from ourselves. Like example on TikTok Shop, if we had a very good day, our Amazon is going to be doing much better. And like with Amazon, we're not spending a lot of money on ads,
Mhm.
right? So a lot of those sales are coming organically compared to the day before, right? If we did a little bit less on TikTok Shop, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can have an idea from there. Of course, everyone knows
Yeah.
that there is a halo effect. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to track it just yet, and that's something that I know a lot of people are
Yuka
working
does.
on.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Yuka
yeah.
does.
Yeah, we can connect your Amazon right into our tool and show the correlation between your video impressions and video account to sales up to the SKU level on Amazon. So maybe that's something I can definitely show you. In terms of, I guess, Amazon in general and expanding outwards, again, do you still consider yourself a TikTok shop first company?
Yeah. So I feel like for us, we're always going to be a TikTok shop first company because, like, at the end of the day, every brand needs creatives. And how do you get those creatives? Through TikTok shop. That's the cheapest way. So
Mm-hmm.
we're always going to be coming back to TikTok. I tell people, like, TikTok shop isn't a platform for you to make crazy profit. It's a growth platform. It's for you to springboard off to other platforms. And like for us, yeah, we're making money, right? Of course, but we're not
Yeah.
making much. But we're getting those creatives, and those creatives are the key. We're using that to, really build that meta and really build that Amazon for us.
Where do you think TikTok shop is headed in the next year?
In my honest opinion, I feel like TikTok Shop is gonna become like Amazon very soon. Like imagine Amazon 10 years ago. It was very easy to launch a brand, very easy to scale. Now it's like
Mhm.
really difficult. Same with TikTok Shop. E-com in general has just grown rapidly within the past few years, and TikTok Shop has only been around for a couple of years. But you can see like very big hitters are going on TikTok Shop. It's starting to become more pay to win, right? Before it was really easy. Now it's not the case. Now it's becoming more strategy as well. So I truly feel like, maybe in 2026, this might be the last year to really, if you want to launch a brand, launch now, or else, it's going to become like Amazon, much more difficult to really scale.
What kind of brands, I guess, will win in 2026 on TikTok shop?
Yeah, I mean, for a TikTok shop, you have to have a product that has a good story, a unique product, a product that, people are like, why should I buy your product over someone else's product? So if you have a good product, have a good story, you can use those creatives to your advantage. So when you're making the product, when you're making the videos, talk about the product, talk about, this is why people buy from us. And those creatives that you use are going to do really well on GMV Max ads.
That makes sense. Um, and what would you tell a brand that's just starting to sell on TikTok shop? How would you advise them? What systems do you think those winning brands are doing that you can give off or pass on to someone who's just starting right now?
Yeah, definitely. So what I tell people when they're starting off is first off, the most important thing is like how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of people on TikTok Shop, a lot of brands on there. Like why would someone buy you over someone else? So first just writing down like what makes you different, what makes you better, right? And then from there, starting to brainstorm ideas of, okay, I'm going to make the listing images say this, say X, Y, and Z, so that people know, and so that competitors, if they're trying to buy from their competitors, they see the difference between your product and their product. And then from there, I would tell them, after you have that good story, of course, reaching out to creators, using a bot to reach out to creators. I know we're on Yuka's podcast right here, so using that bot, and then from there, as I said in the beginning, like having that good message with the Google Drive link just to stand out. From
Hmm.
there, when a lot of creators start reaching out to you, trying to get them into the Discord server, build that community up. Your most important thing is that Discord community. If you can build that up properly, you will do really, really well. Of course, another thing I did forget to mention as well is like having a lot of creators that go live for you.
Hmm.
2026 lives are very, very important. And even for us, we have creators that just do lives. We have creators that just do videos for us. So trying to
Oh,
differentiate both
interesting.
of those as well.
Tell
Yeah.
me more about live. How's that going for you guys? It is, I feel like a lot of brands are still very hesitant with live, and as more and more explore it, it's obviously very successful in China. But tell me more about live for you guys. How are you implementing it? How are you investing in it? Where do you see the future of live being, especially with TikTok Shop?
Yeah, good question. So TikTok Shop, they themselves have said that, live is very, very important. And the way that we are taking our lives is, of course, we have the creators that are just for lives. And the way that, we see if this creator is going to be good for lives compared to videos, you can just see the quality of videos. A lot of the creators that are doing lives, the videos are horrible. So getting them for videos is the worst thing you can do. But their lives, they do really good and they make a lot of GMV. And
Mm,
from there, those creators, the way that we keep them, coming back on that retainer is we're giving them flash sales. We give them giveaways. We give them, a way for them to interact with the audience, right? So that a lot of people, when they're viewing their products, when they're talking a lot, they can, give a free bag away as an example, right?
mm,
Since they already have, but we tell them that, you have to reach a certain amount of sold in order to give that giveaway for it to make sense for us as well. Another thing we're also implementing is like just doing in-house lives. So I know there's a lot of agencies out there, but they charge a lot of money. Like it doesn't make a lot of financial sense if you speak with them how much money they're charging
mhm,
you compared to how much money you can make. So what I've done is I've just, you get a simple studio, a simple office, rent that out. It doesn't have to be that big, right? From there, if you're able to try to reach out to some college kids, right, and offer them the live streaming job, it's a very easy job. All you gotta do is talk. Even if you pay them minimum wage, but you also pay them that commission on top, which we do, we give them 5%. Our creators, our live creators are making like $20 or $30 an hour, which is way more what they would make than working at like, a retail
mhm.
store, which a lot of kids our age do. So it's an opportunity for them to make a lot of money. It's much easier, and of course, it's a very good opportunity for you to make a lot of money as well. And TikTok Shop, they will boost your shop if you're making videos, if you're going live as well. So that helps you make more sales.
Yeah, especially in the early on, TikTok wants to really drive that. How often are you going live? How many, creators are going live? And what's the goal? Is your goal to go live every day, to have 10 creators going live, a week? How are you doing that right now? And kind of what's the scale that you envision?
Yeah, so for us, we're not trying to have like a whole big army of creators for lives compared to like the videos, because of course, if you have so many creators doing lives for you, then everyone's not gonna be able to get the piece of the pie because
Hmm.
there's only that amount they can get, right? So we have a couple of creators that do it, and then we also have our own main account that does it. We are trying to shift forwards to maybe like having an affiliate account and doing lives from there instead of doing it from the main account. Because the problem I've seen is when the main account is live, the creator is not gonna make money because everyone's gonna go to the main account. So then this screws up the creators that are working for you, and this makes them demotivated and they don't want to work with you, right? So what we tell our creators like we're gonna go live at this time, at this day. If you guys want to go live, you can, but they know that it's not worth their time because they're not gonna make a lot of money. So they can plan throughout the day. Okay, if they're going live at this time, I'll go live, later in the day or early in the day.
Mm.
And of course, we're also testing out different times. Like depending on which coast you live in. Like for the East Coast, as an example, we see that Monday to Thursday, 2 p.m. to like 8 p.m. does pretty well, and sometimes even later in the night. And then Saturday, Sunday, people they're home, pretty early as well. So we start, earlier. You can start at like 10 a.m. And
Mm.
we've also noticed, you should be doing live for at least minimum 2 hours. Of course, the longer the better. And lives, a lot of people they think that it's always going to be a success. That's not the case. There's some lives that we do really, really, really bad numbers. Like we lose money. But then there's other days that we're doing thousands of dollars in GMV, which makes up for it.
So very much like the videos, it's consistency.
Exactly.
And with the creators, do you tell them, hey, the goal is to go live for X amount of hours a month? Like, how do you get them to come back after having, the first live launch, or maybe the first three might be a little rough, just getting that momentum? Is there a limit before you give up on either the creator or live in general, where you're like, it's actually not working for us? How do you know when to stop investing in live?
Yes, when it comes to the creators, we've had a lot of creators that just left us because, they do the lives and they don't really make a lot of money, so they feel demotivated. Of course, that's why the retainer is there, right? The retainer is like an hourly wage if you think about it, and then that commission, we give them very high commission compared to our open plan. So that also is a motivating factor. And then we tell them that, you should be live for 2 hours. Go live
Hmm.
for 5 days a week, so Monday to Friday. And we don't tell them, if you don't go live from Monday to Friday, we're not going to pay you, right? Even if you take a day off, but you go live on Saturday, you still get paid, right? And then we look at the end of the month, okay, how many times have they went live? And then from there, we'll pay them accordingly. If they went live for all the days, we'll pay them for the full retainer. If they only went live for a couple of days, we'll pay them for, the prorated rate. And then from there, we realize if that creator is not really motivated, we'll tell them, it's not worth our
Hmm.
time to work with them. Or we have creators that will continue doing it. And we keep working with them. If we see that they're making us a lot of money, we'll incentivize them by increasing the retainer. A lot of creators nowadays, they're getting much smarter compared to before. They are starting to realize their worth and their value, so they'll pay a lot more. They're gonna request you to pay them a lot more, and you just have to be prepared for that. If you think it makes sense for your business, and that creator's making a lot of money, don't become greedy. Don't
Of
lose that
course.
creator because that creator, they're the reason why you're here in the first place.
And how much of your TikTok is live versus creator made content?
Yes, I would say around 30% would be through lives, and the rest is
Okay.
through content. Yes,
And you said earlier that a live doesn't really make good video content for you to use later on. That's what usually the creator content where they're posting is what you end up using for off TikTok Shop platform.
correct.
And if you were to rebuild the creator program or the kind of system that you have today, what would you do differently?
Yes, I mean I know there's a lot of people coming out with different ways to build it, like Yuka, different ways to build that platform because it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like, how can you make it a seamless process instead of them opening tickets on the Discord, then you having to manually go through it, right? One thing that I've seen a lot of people do as well is like when it comes to giving them samples, it's much easier. And then also when they are incentivized, when they want that payout, you can do it through the bot, right? Things like that. That's what I'm seeing. A lot of people are starting to do. But when it comes to like the campaigns, that's something that a lot of people are trying to do that, and I know the bots are catching on with that as well. How do you build that campaign out, and how do creators, or how are they able to see, who's in the first place, how much money are they making, how much
Yeah,
money do they have to make in order to receive that, giveaway and things like that.
makes sense. Kind of as we wrap up here, I'd love to kind of get an idea of like what are your goals for 2026? What are some advice you can give brands already on TikTok Shop? And then we'll wrap up to kind of how they can get a hold of you and what to go from there. But I guess the first question is kind of what are your goals for 2026?
Yeah, so my goals, when it comes to, I guess, revenue wise, of course, we are trying to scale as fast as we can, but at the same time, we're bootstrapped. We are trying our best not to get investors on board. And being someone who just graduated from college 2 months ago, I
Congratulations.
also realized, yes, thank you so much. Yes, so I realized that, in order to put food on the table, like what do we need to do in order to scale, right? So like this year, we're trying to do 10 million in sales. We're trying to do it profitably, like without having to get investors on board. And of course, it's very difficult. So that's one of our goals. Our other goal is for this year launching more flavors. Like we only have that one flavor, but in different nuts. I know that there's a lot of people that are requesting savory flavors,
Mm,
and some unique flavors that we're working on, which we truly believe that's gonna make us stand out, right? As I said in early on, like if you have a product, how can you make it a unique product, right? And having just those flavors not many people do, and that packaging and that way of storytelling is something that we're gonna be focusing on heavily, and just preparing ourselves for the upcoming year 2027 so that we can go into retail or we can possibly go into airlines. That's one of our goals as well, being a nut company, which
oh,
is
that's a
unique.
great place to be.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where can people buy these nuts and how, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, reach out to you, where can they find you?
Yeah, definitely. We sell the nuts on our website, Amazon, TikTok Shop, of course. You guys can check out there. I post a lot on LinkedIn. I love sharing my journey. Someone, as being a Gen Z, I want a lot of people to see what it truly is to actually build the brand. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they will only show the wins, but for me, I'm showing the wins, I'm showing the losses, and I'm showing people the journey that we're taking, and hopefully people follow along and see where we go from there.
That's awesome. Thank you. And what's the website for people to go to? Is it yenets.com?
Yep, yannis.com.
Yes.com. Thank you. And so thank you. We are going to send you a Yuka signature coffee batch of coffee as part of this commerce conversation, commerce credits and coffee conversation. Thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you in person back when I'm in New York, and we'll definitely be in touch. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Awesome. Take care.